don't know if this is going to work. I got cut off and the internet cut out on me the last time I did this, and I'm sick. But so I'm not showered and I look like shit, but I feel like I look really. And I wanted to do this today to see if it works, to see if I can still hold the class. And I'm gonna try. I have lots to say. I could probably say it even beyond the day I find a job. I'm gonna try to get a job for starting on Monday, next Monday, just whatever, just so I can buy Christmas, so I have some food in the house, and without asking somebody for something, because sometimes we can't. Christmas is always a tight month for those that live paycheck to paycheck. So, what I want to do is go back to the book that I was in, A Tiny Piece of Heaven, and I got cut off, and I'm going to complete it. So here goes. Jesus had special things to say about children. He wanted them to be able to come freely, hindered by adults, because their innocence and pure hearts were the kingdom of heaven was all about. Perhaps this is why little ones seem to cut through the spiritual barriers we adults so often construct and see a tiny piece of heaven. But when it happens, we adults find it hard to believe that the reaction of Laura, um, her then 3-year-old son Danny, was all on accounts an especially nice child, caring and honest, although he loved telling stories and embellishing stories. He had his share of accidents. One morning, Danny tore across the living room floor and tripped. The horrified Laura watched him, almost in slow motion, hurtle headfast toward the sharp corner of a table. She took several steps, knowing already that she was too late to break his fall. But Danny didn't hit the table at all. Instead, he seemed to stop in midair. Within a few seconds, he stood straight up again and ran on. Puzzled, Laura replayed the scene in her mind. Yes, he had certainly been falling straight toward the table, and a 3-year-old tumbling at that speed wouldn't have enough control or agility to twist away, nor had she noticed Danny trying to catch him. Yet he had somehow stopped falling. The episode defied the law of gravity. By the next day, Laura had forgotten the incident until Danny, absorbed in play, looked up at her. Mommy, I saw a beautiful lady with wings. Really, Danny, Laura smiled. His stories were so imaginative. What is the lady like? She's nice, Danny said matter of factly. She caught me yesterday so I didn't hit my head against the table. Laura felt a chill. Did the lady say anything? Uh-uh. She said she was going to watch over me and keep me from getting hurt. Danny went back to his toy, but Laura was lost in thought. Danny was so little that my husband and I didn't really taught him about spiritual things, she says. We had told him about God, but we hadn't mentioned angels. We didn't know how much about them ourselves. He had no exposure to angels through preschool, church, or television, at least none that she knew. Now Danny was telling me about a beautiful lady, and it seemed a perfect answer to an unexplainable event. Yet Laura Lay found it hard to believe her son. Children that age had trouble separating fact from fantasy, didn't they? And yet he had seemed so certain. When her daughter was born, Laura had placed a print of a shrub over her crib. Now she went and got it. Did your lady look like this, Danny? She asked. Danny looked at the picture of the baby angel, then her, his eyes puzzled. No, Mommy, that isn't the lady. Laura didn't want to mention the word angel, but it had wings. Don't they look just a little bit alike? Danny shook his head firmly. Although he usually enjoyed telling stories, this was different. Obviously, to him, the lady had been real. Confused, her sister-in-law, Roseanne, not only Roseanne, a faith-filled woman able to reassure Laura that the angel was wondering, she knew Danny very well. Danny wouldn't lie about a thing like that. Roseanne comforted Laura. But let me try something. The next day, Roseanne brought a picture card of a guardian angel to Laura home. The angel looked female and had large wings coming out of her shoulders. Take a look at this, Danny, Roseanne said, giving the nephew the picture. Danny's eyes instantly lit up. The lady, he said, smiling. Look, Mommy, that's the lady I saw. She's the friend that's going to watch over me. Can I keep this? Danny never mentioned the lady again. And today, 4 years later, he apparently forgotten the incident. But Danny also seems to be a remarkable, kind, and gentle boy, particularly interested in spiritual things. And the picture of the angel is still on his mirror. So, I think the beautiful man dressed in the white gown. I hope this is the same story that I ended with. It was a tiny piece of heaven for the book Where Angels Walk. Can you see that? Okay. So, next I'm going to do a hymn. And I picked The Light of God is Falling. And I picked it for a reason because it says where Christ is at this time or wherever they said he was at. And that's a place in Egypt. And this was written in 1819 first. 1819. And there's also a 1910 on here. So I don't think it'd be changed from 1819 to 1910. You would hope not. Anyways, the light of God is falling upon life's common way. The Master's voice still calling, come walk with me today. No duty can seem lowly to him whose lives with thee, and all the life grows holy, O Christ of Galilee, who shares his life's pure pleasures and walks the honest road, who trades with heaping measures and lifts his brother's load, who turns the wrong down bluntly and leads the right a hand. He dwells in God's own country. He tills the Holy Land, where human lives are thronging in toil and pain and sin, while cloistered hearts are longing to bring the kingdom in. O Christ, the elder brother of proud and beaten men, when they have found each other, the kingdom will come again. They ransomed host in glory, all souls that sin and pray, turn toward the cross and bore thee, behold the man, they say. And while the church is pleading for all those who would do good, we hear thy true voice leading our song of brotherhood. So that's it. Um, so he's a worker and he's tilling the land, and the light of God is falling. So he is in Galilee, and the light of God is falling. The light, it must be shining upon him, which it would shine upon Jesus, and who is Christ, a Christian, on his birth. And he must be in the holy, in God's own country. So it's Egypt, in Galilee. So you're a little closer to where it might have taken place. Isn't that cool? It might have been Galilee where the commandments were written. Where if Galilee is still like a city in the country of Egypt, you might be real close to where the Ten Commandments are in the pyramid. Anyways, that's a little hint. So I'm done with that one. That was The Light of God is Falling out of the Book of Songs. Um, all right. So lastly, I picked a Bible verse, Isaiah. I never did go over this Bible really. I'm reading bits and pieces and parts in this, but I never went over all the parts to it. So there's Genesis, which the creation, and then it goes into Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, Samuel 2, and Kings 1, Kings 2, Chronicles 1, Chronicles 2, Ezra, Nehemiah, I can't say that one, Esther, Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Esca- Ecclesiastes, the Song of Solomon, Isaiah, Jeremiah. Um, these are the prophets. Lamentations and as Echo, Daniel, Hosea, the minor prophets. Oh, that's not just given. I wanted to just give the. Okay, I'll start here. I think it's. Oh, okay. So it goes Genesis, Exodus, um, Leviticus, Leviticus, Numbers, Geonomy, Joshua, Judges, Samuel 1, Samuel 2, Kings, Chronicles 1, Chronicles 2, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, Psalms, and after Psalms is Proverbs, and then Ecclesiastes, and then it goes to Isaiah, and then after Isaiah, Jeremiah, and then um, Lamentations, Extra, and then Daniel, Hosea, Amos. Some people have this kind of stuff memorized. When people are real churchgoers, they can even repeat phrases back exactly the way they're worded in the Bible. That's really interesting. Um, Amos, and then it goes to Nama. No, Micah, the book of Micah. Nama, Habakkuk, and then the New Testament, with its Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Acts, Corinthians, Romans, Corinthians, and then what else is in here? Um, Revelations, James, and oh, Corinthians, Romans, Corinthians, Colossians, Timothy, Hebrews, and James, and then Revelations. All right, Peter, and then Revelations, I think. Yeah, okay. So I did that. So those are the titles of the chapters, or sectioned out. And I'm reading from Isaiah 40. Comfort my people, says your God. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem and cry to her that she warfare is ended, that her warfare is ended, that her iniquity is pardoned, that she has received from the Lord's hand double for all her sins. A voice cries, in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord and make straight to the desert a highway for the God. Every valley should be lifted, every mountain and hill be made low, the uneven ground shall be level, and the red places a plain. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and the flesh shall see it together. For the mouth of the Lord has spoken. A voice says, cry. And I said, what shall I cry? All flesh is grass, and all the beauty is like the flower of the field. The grass withers, the flowers fades, and the breath of the Lord blows upon it. Surely the people, it's grass. The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of the God will still stand forever. Um, I just picking apart these words without reading completely before that is kind of hard, because it sounds like it's a Revelations thing, and this is what is to come, instead of and that there was a war and then it ended. Um, so They want the valleys of the deserts to be lifted and uneven ground to become level. We wouldn't want that. You want the ground to stay the way it is. So, yeah. The grass withers, the flower fades, but the breath of the Lord blows upon it. To surely the people is grass. So the Lord is blowing upon the people that are in the grass. The word of the God will stand forever. So they just need to believe, even though things are fading and things are going away. It sounds more like a Revelations thing. It says messages from Babylon has Hezekiah's recovery. So I'd have to read more. I am really not. I don't really know what that little verse would mean completely in, or why they're comfort the people. So the Lord is comforting the people, and the word of God will stand forever. So the God God comforts, I guess, as the main point, and the Lord watches over, and blowing His breath on the people for some reason. So His breath, they will hope, can bring back the grass, or bring back the withers, or bring back the flower, that hopefully it won't die out, and it'll live on. I guess I don't want to talk about that anymore. I just did a little blurb from the Bible, and I guess I don't know enough about it to be able to really educate you in that sense. I guess you can take it for what it's worth. But what I wanted to talk about is kind of how I started this is giving, receiving. I already went over that, didn't I? I think I did. Oh, wants and needs. Okay. Wants, needs, and using what you have is so important. You think you have all these wants, and I want this, I want that. Kids that are Christmas time, sometimes they make a list of Santa and write down everything they want, and usually they're not disappointed when they get their gifts, and the letter is just giving them some hope, giving them something to look forward to, having them do some kind of routine every year, so that they get used to what routine they have if they put up cookies and milk. Or it's all about the kids, isn't it? And then they go and sit on Santa Claus's lap and they ask for stuff. And when you're younger, you ask and you don't really understand that sometimes you don't get. It's a want. It's not a need. If you get one present, that's really enough. It's if you get more than that, you're blessed, and you've got a lot of things to preoccupy you. If you get too much, you're overwhelmed and overstimulated, and you don't know what to touch first. So, if you have the money, some people overstimulate their kids and buy them more. And then they don't only get presents from family, they get presents from grandparents and other people in their lives too. So what ends up being one or two things can end up being 20, and all of a sudden you're up to 20 things. And what do you play with first? And what are you going to do? And it's just a joyous day. If you're blessed to get that many. If you get one, great. If if you got one just labeled Santa Claus and not from anybody in your family, you were still cared for and cared about. It might be your favorite present, and you'll probably use it. Where somebody who got 20 gifts, some of them just sit there, collect dust. And that's what it is about a lot of people. They get all these things, and things collect dust. and they don't use what they have. And so, do you need it? Could you part with it? That's hoarders, they can't part with anything. It's so hard. I had this collection of VHS tapes, and when I got this collection of VHS tapes, I paid $14 to $20 a piece for each video, and they're going for 50 cents at garage sales or $1 at the thrift stores, and I'm just like, okay, maybe I should just part with them for someone who needs them more. My aunt didn't didn't have any, and not very many, and then I watched them all over and over and over again. So I felt bad. She said she didn't have cable, and she's real lonely and depressed and crying. And I thought, okay, I'll help. I'll give her my stuff. And he always complains I have too much stuff and too much junk, and we can't store it, and we don't have enough room. So I'm like, okay, that's a perfect opportunity. Somebody I can give them to. I regret it. I do kind of because she talked to me once after that, and it was like 10 boxes of VHS tapes that I got to watch when I'm old and gray, and I don't know where I would have stored them, but they're still mine, and they meant something to me, and I don't. I think she appreciated the gift. I don't know, but it made me sad because those movies, I looked back upon it. I tried to remember one of the names of the movies, couldn't find it. Looked everywhere for the name of the movie, and I would have liked to have watched it. So it was still mine. It was something I had, and I parted with it. It's so hard to part, and it's so hard to give things up and give it to someone else. But it makes you feel good if they appreciate it. And she didn't only hold me once. Did she appreciate it? Why doesn't she now want to talk to me? And then when I was up there, she was even saying how big I was and how people talk. And I'm just like, gosh, I gave her all this stuff, and I don't know why she would, so I'm big, I'm still me, and I'm still nice and kind and all this stuff, and why did she not talk to me anymore? So it just made me sad that I made a bad choice and I should have kept it. I was going to give it up to somebody else, and I took them all back. I'd given them, and then he was going to sell them for like $1. And I'm like, gosh, I just don't want them to just be sold for $1. I put so much money into it, even though, and I hadn't used them in years. But I like to hang on to things. Even if I hadn't used it, one day I might just play it. One day I might just take it out and use it. So I don't know if you'd call me a hoarder or not. I don't have stuff all around, and it's pretty organized. It's pretty neat, but I have trouble parting with things, and I collect things, and I like what I have. So I appreciate what I have, and the main reason why I appreciate so much is because you made these beautiful things. This movie came together, and I really liked it, and I bought it, and I appreciate all the work that went into it. I understand all they had to get to where they are, and then they're there, and they're putting it out for you. They do really great jobs, and it's just like little things that people make. Someone made that, and it's by hand, and they had to mold it and fill it, and whether it's crystal or whether it's wood, carve it. It's beautiful because you did it, and I'm so proud that all of you guys get together and you get recognized. I have a lot of CDs, people music, and the music is so beautiful and has so many different meanings to so many different people, and they can relate to it. Different people, and that's why songs and music are so popular. And then you can try to figure out what maybe the one who wrote it means by it. It's a lot of enjoyment. All of it out there is for enjoyment for you. And but you need to appreciate what you have. You don't have to part with anything. If someone makes you that's wrong, they shouldn't make you get rid of what you have. They shouldn't tell you what to do. Nobody should. But if you want to save a relationship and you fight about the things that you holding on to that you can't let go, then I guess it's time to let it go because the relationship's more important. So it's weighing out what is more important, what means more to you, the tapes that you haven't watched in years or the relationship that you're in right now. And the relationship, of course, at least that's how I'd put it. So he doesn't want to store his stuff. I need to find a place to get rid of it. I don't want to just give something of that much value to me to a thrift store. And I thought it would really be of value to my aunt because she doesn't. I watched the same stuff over and over again, probably movies she'd never seen. And I thought it would be good entertainment, keep her preoccupied so she doesn't get so depressed. My aunt, uh, she didn't get to talk to her kids for years, and the courts gave all her kids to her ex-husband, and she was one that couldn't even visit them at school. So up through 18, there's only one kid that she really had anything to do with, and because that one was almost 18. So the rest of the kids were real distant, and it was very painful memories and very painful holidays and everything else. So I felt she would have something to get her by and something to give her hope and something to watch that is entertainment, keep her mind off things that we all have to go through. We all do go through stuff, and the courts are wrong. He should have never got custody of those kids, and I don't have any time. I just they were wrong in how they did that, and then to withdraw so she can't even see them. It was just all wrong how it all worked out, and it had to do with mail too, and missing the first court appearance. So it already had been established that he got custody, and then it's trying to fight to get custody back. And it's just unfortunate that things happen. Shit happens to all of us, doesn't it? And it even affects people we care about. And it won't say who she is, but her life to me is important, and I care deeply about her. And I feel so bad about the tornness and the distance and not being able to raise your own kids. I can't imagine. And not being able to watch them grow up and all the pictures that you hold so dear to your heart because they're there and they're of your kids. You know, and so you can look back at the pictures, but then you just cry. And you don't let your kids go. It's like you have the picture and you can't go see them, and you don't get to visit them. So I would never do that. I didn't stay with my boyfriend that I had my kid by. Nope, we didn't stay together. He broke up with me because he wouldn't kiss me, and so I left him. But he broke up with me first. I wrote him a 10-page note. I wonder if he ever got it, really. It was 10 pages long. I wanted to really save that relationship, and I wanted him to be able to be in our lives and be a family. And I would have did anything to try to keep the family together. Um, but things happen, and I didn't get a family to stay together as a unit, and I had to do it on my own, and I did the best I could. We all have to do the best we can for who's in our lives, and that's not what I chose. That's not what I wanted, and I wish I could have worked it all out in the end, so we would all be together. And I still wish the kid got to be around him from the beginning as a family. It gave her more of a close knit relationship with him, and understand him better, and you know be supportive and love and everything else. So it's just kind of disappointing. Um, we That's just one story. That's my story. Well, you have a story. We all have stories. We all have hurdles. Some of us are single moms. Some of us went through divorces. Some of us went through custody battles. Some of us feel like they just took so much advantage of us. They don't care. Some of us are innocent and went to jail. Some of us are guilty and went to jail. And then some of us, it's everybody has a story, and you have to walk in their shoes. And you have to make decisions, and you have to make choices, and you have to live with how things are. When we broke up, and then and they're no longer yours anymore. You know how hard that is to do or to get over. So you have this person in your life that you can, and you love, and you have to let them go, and you can't pick up the phone and call them. You're not friends anymore, and so they're there, and you know they're there, but you can't have nothing to do with them anymore. It's just like somebody that was never even in your life, but they were so much a part of it. It's so hard to separate. I always say try to work things out if you can, unless if it's a real abusive relationship where you're getting the shit kicked out of you every day, and you just afraid for your life. Other than that, you can get over things. You can get over a relationship where someone cheats, or you can get over things. You might hold it against them and throw it in their face, but you can get over all that stuff. If there's kids involved, I mean, it's so much better to stay there for the kids. If you're fighting all the time and the kids see you fighting all the time, and that's hard on the kids, but you can work through that. You can go through counseling, or you can go through groups, or you can talk it out, or you can always try to make some kind of vow where every time you go to bed, you never go to bed mad, you make up. And so you fight a little bit, or you yell. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not that unhealthy. Everybody does. Everybody gets angry. Everybody gets mad. Everybody gets frustrated. It doesn't mean you have to separate and that you're not meant for each other. Doesn't mean any of that. So always try to work it out if you can. Keep that family unit together. So many marriages dissolate, and they just break up, and so many divorces now. It's like the marriage vows aren't even there. It doesn't mean anything. People just fall out of love, um, and and just break up for whatever reasons, all kinds. It's just terrible that we can't keep everything together. You talk to these couples and you wonder, oh, they've been married 50 years. How did they make it? If they can make it, I can do it. And you have to have commitment, and you have to really want something. And so, wants and needs, again, what do you need to fulfill your life? What would it be like without that person in it, and not being able to have them in it anymore, and not being able to touch them, feel them, say what you mean to people. You never know. Say what you think, let it all out, especially if it's about to break up or something. Try to work and try to say what you mean. Don't just let it go if that's not what you want. So relationships are worth saving. So wants and needs. What are my wants? What do I want out of life? What do I want to buy? What do I want to shop for? What do I want to save? How much should I put away? What should go for this, that, and the other thing? You have to weigh all those things out. Those are more choices and decisions. Our lives are filled with choices and decisions all over the place. And what is a difference between a want? You want it, you want to buy it, or you want to have it, but it's just a want. You don't need it. You can do without it. You can wait until later. Maybe you don't have the money right now. Don't buy it if you don't have the money. You can wait till later until you do have the money, and if it's gone, just let it go. So you didn't get it. You know, if you have a need and you need this medicine to help you get better, you're going to buy the medicine. If you have a need that you 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 don't have enough clean clothes, you're going to go buy new clean clothes. You're going to buy a pair of jeans or a pair of shorts, or a want is like Um, every year, I always followed a routine. I would always buy, like my mom did before me, clothes right before school starts. And that's pretty much all I would spend on clothes for the whole year. Except for once in a while, I'd go and pick up stuff. I probably bought a lot more clothes than I'm saying. But I always bought like at the end of the holidays when at the end of the seasons. So the season's coming to an end, and all of a sudden they got everything on clearance. So it's always best to buy on clearance if you can. It saves you a buck. But people who have money, it doesn't matter. If they want, they get. But when you don't have money and you have to make the decisions between wants and needs, um, I want to like you have to make a choice about whether to put food in the house or buy a gift for your kid for Christmas. Food in the house is more important, but the gift is important. So can you get help in any areas? Can you find a job? Can you do this? Can you do that? How can you get what you want and still get what you need? Um, if you can't, then you have to do with the need. You have to have food before anything else. And if you have to pick up ramen, maybe you can sacrifice, get ramen, and that's like $1 or two. A box of cereal, you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, a frozen pizza. I don't know. And that can get you by. Some people do that and just buy like those little sandwiches and get them by. My aunt was one who would buy these sandwiches and 5 for $5, and that's what she would eat at night, just one sandwich. And we do what we do to make afford all the other bills in our house and all the other things that we have to do. And sometimes you have to understand as kids, mom can't buy us everything. Doesn't mean they didn't care. Doesn't mean they didn't want to. It doesn't mean that you didn't matter. It means they had to make choices and decisions that other things were more important. If you have an addiction, that's even harder because then you can't really afford a lot of the other stuff too, and you go without for the addiction, or you have to make choices and decisions or try to limit how much you're doing this, that, or the other thing. There's It's really hard. You make goals for what you want to do, but you make a list of okay, so you have this, and you have this, and you have that. That's what my grandma always told me. You pay all your bills first, and then what's left over, you weigh out what's important, what's a want, what's a need, and what can you get by with, or can you find it cheaper somewhere else? I look for the deals, and if I have to buy secondhand, I will. Nothing wrong with secondhand. It depends on what it is. I wouldn't want underwear secondhand, but there's nothing wrong with secondhand. And if you can get it, sometimes it's in really good shape. And all of it's all important. It's important for us who don't have an income, that we're not living paycheck to paycheck. And most don't live or they're not living paycheck to paycheck. Almost everybody's at paycheck to paycheck in America. It's not like we're all rich. There's a elite few. I'd say, I think it's 3% of the population, if I'm not mistaken from psychology I learned, or something like that. And 1% to 3% is at the top where they don't have to worry about anything. And a lot of them work their way up to get to those positions. It's great, and they worked really hard to get where they are, and they worked really hard to entertain us. And so there's the singers, the movie stars, the football players, all of them are out. Baseball players are out there, hockey players, they're out there to entertain us, and we are their clients. That is their job, and that's how they're getting paid. And they work very hard at it, and then they get to retire usually earlier than that, and they pretty much can get what they want. But then you have some that work hard, and the board of directors or this or that, or they invest, or they work born into money, and they have different, and up there it's only about 3% compared to how many people there are in America. And Most all are the lower end or the middle end. And I don't remember what the medium. I think it's 70,000 to like probably 30,000 and 30,000 and under or something. I mean, I live on not that much a year, and but I make do. And right now, I need a job. I need a job for Christmas. I can't really get but two gifts for Christmas, and I'm all three total. And I just feel like I want to give more. And sometimes I feel like if you get a gift, you feel more cared about, you feel more loved. You feel, even though I don't have the money, I want to get them, and so I might try to get a job just for Christmas, and just take whatever I get, so I can buy Christmas and bring more food into the house. Because paycheck to paycheck, I just want to do it. I want to eat a certain way so I can get healthier, lose weight, and I have all these wants. I want to eat this certain food. I want these supplements. I want to buy Christmas. So if I want this stuff, I need to find a job, and I'm gonna take whatever it is so I can get what I need. And one bill's gonna come in, and I don't have the money for it. I have to prepare for that so I can make that when it comes due. If you have a job, it's easier to get a job. So take what you can for now, get your bills and everything in order, and then when you have a job, then you're more marketable because they can call them and find out how you're doing and hire you. And then you're more marketable when you have a job. I don't know why. Way back when I had a job, and um, I worked part time, and I did taxes, and then all of a sudden I got this fabulous job. I think a part of it is because I was already in a job, so then I got this job. See, so it works in your favor. Working is always the best way. So healthy for us and it helps us to establish our self esteem. Feels it's you're some people you're working for what you have. You're making a difference in people's lives if you take it seriously and you like what you do. You make a difference, and making a difference is so rewarding, depending upon what you do. In every position in a company, you make a difference. If you didn't have the janitors, so imagine what your store would look like if you didn't have um, people in the lower paying jobs, clothing, who puts together all the pieces, the lower paying jobs. Then there's seamstress. They don't get that much money. And then you have like the people who are servicing us, like bartender or waitress or um, and a lot of people can't afford the entertainment. It's usually middle to upper class. So the lower class really can't afford the entertainment. If they do, it's going to the bar and having one drink and sipping on water for the rest of the night just to get out of the house, or bringing their kids to a water park. So a lot of these people want to do these things, and they have different places like the Science Museum would offer, not the or the Children's Museum would offer a day where anybody can come, and it's free to get in. So that's the day to go. And then you can get your kid to this event. Find out about that kind of stuff. Always Google different places or things you really want to go to and see if you can get tickets. A lot of people try to win tickets on the radio. I mean, it gives them hope, or it gives them something to do to maybe make it so they can get to one of these events that they'd really love to see but can't afford. Cost of living. I can go into cost of living to make it, and we have all this extra money so you can do the things you want to do. Like you want to see this player, you want to go to this concert, and to make enough money. How do I get there? What do I have to do? Do I have to go to more schooling? Do I have to have something like that behind my belt? I don't think that's a necessity to do if you already have a job. You have the work. You're just going to put yourself more in debt. So that's not going to really, in the long run, it'll help you 10 years down the road, maybe. But cost of living, you get raises, it's like 1%. The raises don't keep up with inflation and how much every prices are going up by the consumer price index and stuff. So if it's going up 3% and you're getting 1%, you're 2% behind. And every year you're going to be more. But that's not even like houses and housing. It's like 100% went up, and it doesn't come. It's not really coming down. Um, no matter the loan rates are lower, so people are affording more, so people are charging more, and everybody's trying to get a house because they can afford the loan. But then it's just um, it it's not working itself out really well. Cost of stuff is up, but wages are down, and wages aren't like 10 years ago. It was 10 years ago. I made a starting wage of like 14.50. With a BA now, that's a starting wage about $15 an hour to 17 for a BA, and that's 4 years of education. Where I only had a 2 year education, and that was 10 years ago. So our prices haven't went up, and there's all these people that are educated and they can't find work in their field, so they have to take positions that are lower than them just to get money, just to get by, and unless if you have someone to rely on who can flip your bill, and we always don't have that, do we? And or some of us are too proud and don't want that. We always want to pay our way and be proud, like me. I don't want anybody to flip the bill for me. Sometimes I'll ask, and sometimes just see what they say. And if they're against it, I understand. They have their things to pay for, and sometimes they can't afford everything, and they're behind on their bills too. So we can't always budget to help someone else. And I don't want to be a burden, and I don't want to be somebody that's dependent upon somebody else. I want to be where I know that if anything happened to him, I could make it on my own without him. And that's what we always want, don't we? We want to feel secure in our job and in our life. And men get intimidated when women wait too much than them. And women get intimidated when they depend so much upon somebody that if they were to leave, they don't want to end up back at home. They want to be able that they can make it on their own. We all just kind of do. Um, I think that's maybe a general theme. Most people don't want to just live off someone and mooch. They want to make and earn their way and earn their keep. So you have to weigh out everything. There's so much. And people are all different. We all will make different choices and decisions depending upon what we want to do. Someone might choose to do this, and the other person's going to choose to do that based on wants and needs. We could have the same wants and needs, and they're still going to do something different. We're all different, and different is beautiful. And that's how I'm going to end it. You're all beautiful. Have a blessed night. Bye. And hopefully you can hear me while my voice cuts out. But it was weird. I sang tonight and played the piano real good. And I sang, and it's like I had a different voice. Isn't that just crazy? Because it didn't cut in and out, and it was just beautiful, and it sounded beautiful. But you would think I was a different person, and then I wonder if they got that tape recording of me. That's probably what they did. That's why they gave me that voice, and they can do that. I don't know how, because I don't know how I sang today, and I couldn't do it right now. There's no way I'd sing a song. I wouldn't get all the words out. And so that's my crazy life. And I'm sure you have crazy parts about your life too. Have a blessed night. And you're all beautiful. Bye.